This is Modern Persian Food,
a culinary podcast for today's food enthusiast.
We talk about classic Persian flavors,
modern recipes,
and embracing culture and identity through food.
I'm Gita.
And I'm also Gita.
Welcome to our show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 150. We are continuing our cookbook reviews and discussions this summer for our summer series focusing on cookbooks. And we are proud to have on the show authors of Maman and Me, recipes from our Iranian-American family, Roya, Shariat, and Gita, Sadeh. And we also lovingly will refer to Gita Jun as Maman Jun, as the Maman from Maman and Me. Roya is a Brooklyn-based writer and social impact professional. She writes a weekly newsletter on food and culture called Consumed. She has a TikTok following of almost 200,000 followers. And Gita Jun is a Maryland-based chef and early childhood educator. She has decades of teaching experience and also culinary teaching online and offline. And we are so excited to have you ladies on the show.
Thank you for having us.
So excited to be here with you both.
Yeah, thank you so much. And as always, we have the other Gita Jin here. So again, ladies, thank you for being here. So first of all, this book, Maman and Me, Recipes from Our Iranian-American Family, is coming out October 24th. Thank you for sharing the little sneak peek with us. We dove into that and I love it. And what I think about the book, it really captures an Iranian-American family. You know, similar to you, Roya Jun, my parents moved here a long time ago. I was born and raised here, but, you know, the hybrid and the blending of the cultures and the ways that our families kind of had to like make do with the ingredients that they had. You know, there were not many Persian markets. There weren't these online retailers who could just, you know, send you things like 2-day delivery. You know, it wasn't anything like that. So it was like, what can we do? What switches or, you know, adjustments to the recipes can we make? And I feel like when I was flipping through the book, it's like it really captures that kind of like hybrid life of being Iranian American. So if you would just spend a few minutes and tell us your inspiration, what led you to the book and writing the book and about kind of your journey with your mom, we'd love to hear it.
Of course. My inspiration is right in front of you. It's Maman Jun, it's Gita Jun, it's her. She was my inspiration, my muse. I've wanted to do this project for probably 15 years, half of my life. I always knew she was such an incredible home cook, and she would cater weddings out of her home kitchen. She would cook for hundreds of people, no big deal, no questions asked. And not only was the food so delicious and flavorful, there was always a story behind it. Oh, this was my grandmother's favorite dish. Oh, this cookie we used to make around Nowruz, and this is what it reminds me of. There's a story behind it. It tastes good, and it also looks good. Presentation was always so important to her. And while I realized that as a teenager, I think it really hit home when I left for college and I realized I'm living in New York on my own. I don't have any access to Iranian food. I really miss this home cooking. And what I thought of as home cooking was actually really sophisticated, incredible cuisine. And we're so lucky that we have that as our culture. We're so lucky that our comfort food is khoresh badem jun or khayme, these really rich, comforting, delicious dishes. And the more I get older, the more I realize how food is my lifeline. And I think it is true for many of us in diaspora communities. Food is what brings us home, what connects us to our culture, our ancestors, our history. And I need to keep that alive. And it's our generation that is going to have to do that in partnership with the generation of our parents. So that's a little bit on the inspiration. And on the food itself, you're right. It's interesting. My parents moved to Florida initially and then came to the DC area, but there were not Iranian grocery stores in Florida in the 1980s. And, you know, sambuse had to be made with a wonton wrapper because that's what we had. Or if you couldn't find grape leaves for dolme, you'd make dolme felfeli. And immigrants are so entrepreneurial and so innovative. And this book really celebrates that. And it's a little bit about where we are now and how we cook here with all of the respect and love towards the past and how we got here.
I love that.
For me, cooking, it was, Roya said, bringing home. I think for me, it's showing love and respect to either my children, either my relatives or my guests, any friend coming, putting the dish on a table, food on a table, different platter, different color food, the smell, aroma is different. When they sit around that table, when they gather around table, so many friends has told me, before knowing you, we felt like being orphan. We didn't know how to cook Persian food. We didn't know how to bring these together. And simple dish, you brought us together. You made the connection. For me, food is love and connection. And for me, coming as immigrant mom to this country, it was hard. Imagine 36 years ago in Florida. Every time I would see cilantro, I would go crazy. Whatever they had, I would get it. It was cash and carry, any other store, get it, and on cash register, they would say, "Is it for decoration?" And it was like insult for me. No, we eat this. This is so rare. You have it this week, special this week. And I would go so far away to find those special spices. We didn't have so many things raw. Now, right now, you have a click of your finger on your phone, not even your computer. You order it, it comes in your front door. So I have to improvise. I have to come out with something that could help me to do the cooking so I can give that love and attention to my family, to my, I call my student, their parents, my extended family. It shouldn't be blood relative. All of them, they are like my family. And as much as I have the love, I gain confidence when I see that, and they are giving the same love to me. It's, you cannot put a price on that.
Absolutely.
That's lovely. I can definitely feel the love that's shared between you and that you're giving out into the world. Your fusion of where you are now and how you've come to bring people into your home and share it through your table. There's so many things I love about the cookbook. First of all, congratulations. I know how hard it is. Bita June and I are recipe developers. That's how we kind of started and connected, that we found each other in admiring each other's work. But we definitely respect and understand the challenge of taking an old recipe and trying to quantify it and get it into, putting pen and paper to it. So one of the things I love about cookbooks is reading them. And I really enjoy reading the introductions because I feel like it gives us a little glimpse of who you are and tells your story. And there are a few things that stayed with me. And one is sort of the etymology of words that you describe. One is that you refer to Iran versus Persia, and that you talk about Southwest Asia versus the Middle East, talking about Southwest Asia as our region. The other that I loved was Del. I really feel the Del of you both, having just met you and also just by reading your cookbook, but the double meaning of the word Del you talk about, and also the meaning of the word loghme. So those were the things that in the introduction that stayed with me and I really enjoyed. I also thought it was so cool, like the actual recipes that you had, both fusion recipes, you had comfort foods like Estamboli polo, tas kebab, spaghetti, but then you also had some sophisticated recipes and, more traditional. I appreciated the fish. There were a few different fish recipes. And so there's just something for everyone. So just again, congratulations on the cookbook.
Thank you. At the beginning, you kind of raised the question about, how did you measure? How did you figure out quantities? And so you two are recipe developers. You know how hard this is. And imagine being a recipe developer on top of, but dealing with another person's recipes. And that person is an immigrant mama whose recipes are handwritten, and some of them are handwritten, not all of them.
Right.
But usually it's, oh, well, I'm just going to put in this much. And I'm like, how much is this much? Let's quantify that in a tablespoon. She says, I don't know, it's just this
Right.
much.
Yeah.
And then we get out a plate, we get out our spoons, and we start measuring ingredients, and we're second guessing ourselves. And I think that was one of the biggest challenges of the book, is putting measurements to cooking in a cuisine where everything was like, pour with your heart, salt that boiling water for the rice with your heart and do a lot of it. But we haven't thought about using spoons and
Right.
tablespoons and cups for that. So I think that was a big challenge. But it's crazy because the recipes are really in her brain, and it was transcribing them, testing them, checking them. That was a lot of hard work.
Yeah, I love it. So what a great bonding time and experience for you both to kind of spend all that time together in the kitchen and cooking. And, I'm sure you could just feel the love in the air when you guys were like testing all these recipes and feeding everyone, I'm sure, with all the test results. So that's really special.
For me, Corona was not that bad. Roya came here. My children, they were closer. And we learned so many things that we didn't know before. And we started to appreciate life more. Just being together, having the chance, sitting on a table, having the food. And for me, I learned to be more appreciative, to be more thankful. The time we had spending together as a family, as a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's precious. That's the silver lining of the hard time for sure.
Hi there, friends. We have a quick favor to ask you.
Subscribe, follow, and add us on your favorite podcast player,
so you can get all our episodes every week. Every Wednesday, we have a fresh new episode just for you.
Sign up and don't skip a beat.
If you had to describe it, how would you describe it as being compared to traditional Persian food? And then also tell us some of your favorite recipes in the book and what we should be trying.
I'll speak to the first one and then let my mom answer her favorites, and I'll share mine afterwards. So on your point, how would you compare this to traditional Persian cooking? I'd say Iranian-American cooking is just an evolution of that. It's taking the things we know and love and sometimes making them simpler, easier, sometimes mashing them up with comfort foods we have here. You have peanut butter and jelly. Why don't we have peanut butter and anjir and have fig toast, as you see in the book? You have cream cheese sandwich. Well, we can use labneh there, and we can have it sweet and savory, and it's just as delicious. So I'd say it's what you know and love with a bit of a new, fresh twist, and also what might be easier, what might be convenient, or what might just be unexpectedly delicious. It's the way my mom combines saffron and ranch dressing on salmon that is out of this world, but it is like only an Iranian in America could come up with that recipe and could come up with that combinations. Or like the Ruffles sour cream and cheddar potato chips with the moss instead of your plain old potato chips. It could only happen here.
So good.
So I think that's how I describe the food and how it's different. Mom, what do you think are your favorite recipes from the book?
For breakfast, I said hot dog scramble, sausages and تخم مرغ. That was the food we had it when I was in college. A student going to college, that was not every night, but a couple of times a night we had it for dinner, but we put it for breakfast.
That's the perfect Iranian fusion, just putting the hot dog. I know it well, yes.
Sliced up, sauteed. Yeah, I love it. It's so fun. It's like a very nostalgic.
Have hot dog and egg. Then you can go with tomatoes, so many other stuff you can add it on. Khorak morgh was my mom's favorite. Then any seasonal vegetable you have handy, you can put it there. I put potato, carrots, sometimes green beans, any other vegetable you like, fruit. I sometimes even put Granny Smith apples or queens, anything I can put my hand on it. Then for nushabe is drink, carrot juice float, especially when you put Persian ice cream. That's out of this world. Yeah.
Believe it or not, we have a lot of American or, like non-Farsi Persian language speaking listeners. What does khorak morgh in English mean?
Just chicken stew.
Chicken stew, yep.
One pot. I fry onions, then I put any part of chicken you like, dark part, white part, then mix it together, put so many different herbs on it, add tomato sauce, then just a little bit water. Then one by one, you start from tomato, carrot, green beans. I told queens, Granny Smith, apple, whatever I have in the fridge. And to be honest, you want to clean up your fridge? That is khorak morgh. You can put whatever, yeah.
I love
Yeah.
it. Do you put saffron or turmeric?
Yes, I put turmeric and saffron, and sometimes my sisters and friends, not making fun of me, but saffron is so expensive. You even put saffron in abgusht? I said, yeah, any kind of meat, red meat, white meat,
Yes.
chicken, it doesn't matter. Saffron has to be just a little bit. It makes it different.
Yeah. I feel like khorak morgh is one of those quintessential comfort foods, and maybe is the Iranian-American life, but I just feel like that was such a big part of my family growing up, that like the khorak morgh was just like the humble dish that is kind of like you said, pulled together all in one pot, and you can have it with rice, you can have it with bread and salad, but it is so cozy and so comforting.
You can add some oregano on it. Then it becomes Greek chicken.
Oh, there you go.
Interesting. My mom makes khorak morgh with carrots, and through the years, my girls love it, and they just call it chicken and carrots. It definitely has saffron. My mom's fusion secret is ketchup, which is kind of like your hot dogs, but it's so easy.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah.
The carrot thing that you talked about, my mom talks about that too. Not a lot of people have heard about it. Tell us more about that carrot drink.
Oh, carrot drink. It has to be. But you nowadays go to any supermarket, you get carrot juice. But I usually, Roya has it, I make fresh carrot juice at home. I have a juicer. Then put $1 of Persian ice cream in it. You have to try it. You have to come to our house.
Yes.
We are going to make it for you. It's totally different experience. You can have it with vanilla ice cream, but Persian ice cream, because it has saffron in it, it has rose water in it, and pistachio in it, it makes it different, totally different experience.
Yeah, it sounds really different, but you just have to trust us that it's such a delicious combination.
All right, Roya Jane, you want to tell us some of your favorites?
Okay, some of my favorites, although Maman took a lot of the good ones.
Oh, you have a book full of good ones.
We do. And I have to say I have a soft spot for khorak morgh because, yes, it was our grandmother, her mom's favorite. But also, it was something I took for granted growing up. Like, I was just like, oh, this is just the basic. This is the simplest thing. You know, it's good, but it's fine. And now when I'm craving mom's cooking and I'm homesick, that is the first thing I turn to because it is so simple and because it just comes together.
Yeah, definitely comfort food.
But I'd say I love my mom's dal adasi, and dal adas is lentil soup, and people who are familiar with Indian cuisine know dal, but my mom is from the south of Iran. She's from Abadan, and it's on the Persian Gulf, and there's a lot of Indian and South Asian influence in that cuisine, which explains, you know, the tamarind with the samosas. It explains a few of these different flavors, but she grew up eating this dal, and it's not necessarily Iranian or what you would expect, but it is so simple, delicious, flavorful. The secret ingredient, I'd say, is a grated potato. So it's not that you're eating chunks of potato, but these little pieces that just sit under your teeth.
Oh.
And again, a one-pot wonder, but truly, truly an incredible dish. I have to give a shout out to the polos, and this shirin polo is just heaven on earth. It's more of a complicated dish because you make the carrot jam and you get the zereshk and the nuts, but it's truly like a special occasion dish, and it's the type of thing you put on the table and everyone is gasping and oohing and awing and what is it? And I love that element of surprise.
Like a jewel, yeah.
Yeah, and the way that you guys have it decorated like that in the strips, it looks really elegant that way.
I've, of course, had shirin polo and jeweled rice, but I've never seen it done with carrot jam. That's really creative.
I usually use orange skin.
Okay.
in my carrot jam. The taste is totally different. It's not only carrot, but it has a couple of strand of skin of oranges.
That jam sounds good.
I love actually using jam in my rice toppings. Yeah, so I love that. That's a great idea.
The other two favorites I have, so this is the somach smash, and it's a cocktail. And I had so much fun figuring out how to incorporate somach into a drink because it's such a delicious, savory ingredient. You almost want to lick it off your fingers. And I figured, how do I translate that into something you can drink and sip on? And the secret and the hack came to be making simple syrup, infuse the somach, strain it out before it gets bitter. And that forms the base of this beautiful, beautiful drink with whiskey, with mint, with lemon. And the last favorite and most special one maybe are these sweet yogurt fritters that my mom calls noon masti. And I had never heard of this recipe. I don't remember eating it. And literally a week before we're about to do photo shoots, my mom is like, we need to have noon masti in there. And I'm saying, what are you talking about? The recipe list has been set for months now. We're making these recipes this week. And she said, that's my great grandma's dish. That is the family dish. And I said, I've never tried it. Why don't you make it and let's see? Because I'm tough on her sometimes. I have to lay down the law with these things.
Sure.
And she made it. And these fritters, they were doughy, almost like a donut, covered in powdered sugar and cardamom. Fluffy, light, delicious. The yogurt is the leavening agent, so you're not putting yeast in there. It was heaven. Wow. And I said, okay, there's no way we can't include this. I started searching for the recipe on the internet, nowhere to be found. So it may be a very specific family recipe.
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
But I love that, one, it's made its way into the cookbook.
Yeah.
And two, just that I got to experience a special family hand-me-down that probably I would have never learned about had it not been for the cookbook.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. That's a beautiful story. This is also great. I'm definitely very hungry and looking forward to trying some of the different recipes that you guys have in the book. So again, thank you so much for taking the time. Gita Jun, Roya Jun, where can people find more information? Where can they put a pre-order in, or what are your social handles that people can follow you on?
You can head on over to mamanandme.com. You can also go to any of your favorite bookstores, bookshop.org, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. All the major retailers are carrying it for pre-order now. You'll get your copy on launch day, October 24th. And if you want to stay in touch with us and follow our cooking adventures, our cooking Instagram is Maman and Me. And my TikTok is Roya Shariat, my first and last name. So you can stay in touch with us on there. We share recipes, photos, stories, and lots more to come in these coming months.
Great. We will link to all of that in our show notes. And we had a great conversation. Thank you, ladies, so much for your time today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. And I'm left out. We have Gita, and Gita, and I'm just Roya here. You three are a good match.
We all end in the A sound, so at least we're together on that. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, ladies. Until next time.
You've been listening to the Modern Persian Food Podcast with Gita and Gita. Thanks for spending time with us. If you've enjoyed what you heard today, consider telling a friend or giving us a good rating. You can subscribe to our show for free on your favorite podcasting app or find us online at modernpersianfood.com or on Instagram for the recipes and information we talked about today. We'd love to hear your thoughts and see you next time.